Hello friends and enemies and random strangers from the internet. Thank you for checking out this video. If you like The Sims and history, please consider becoming a member of the beccatownsims Society for Excellence in Historical Simming today by subscribing to this channel. Today you're going to see my renovation of the Ward Den, and that is Judith Ward's monstrously ugly home that comes with Sims 4 Get Famous. So I'm going to be bulldozing that, totally rebuilding it, and talking about the life of an early Hollywood starlet, Anna May Wong. So first, a little information on this build. So the original one is just like a total dumpster, trash, fire, junk, ugly, like seriously just delete it kind of thing. It's just a big box of empty rooms. There's the marble wallpaper from Get Famous plastered on there, and like 3 pieces of furniture. I don't know. And Judith, our glorious Judith Ward, should not have to suffer like that, my friends. So I decided to give her lot, the Ward Den, a full glam makeover. So this is going to be inspired by some pictures of some just truly ridiculously opulent, I'm going to say it, tacky homes that I googled. The house has 6 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, and basically everything that Judith could need, like an attic to store her butler, a gym and a sauna, and a nice backyard pool area where she can invite the gentlemen over and make them take their tops off. It also has a vault for all those valuables, and naturally a private screening room for Judith to watch all of her movies on, because we know she loves to stare at her own face. So since this build is in Del Sol Valley, and Del Sol Valley is basically Hollywood, LA. I don't know the difference between LA and Hollywood. I'm from the East Coast, that is the West Coast. Are they the same place? I don't think so. But anyways, I was trying to, or are they? I literally don't know. They're nearby. Okay, I'm gonna stop now. I was trying to think of some good Hollywood scandals that we could talk about today. And yeah, honestly, the first thing that comes to mind when I think about Hollywood is basically like out of control capitalism and how much money we spend on movies. And then the second thing is like the murder of young starlets. But I didn't want to do murder today because I prefer like a more historical murder, because then you don't feel quite as bad about it, because like the victims' families aren't alive anymore. So I'm not doing a murder. I'm going to talk about one person in particular, and that is the actress Anna May Wong, and she is considered to be the first Asian American movie star. So let's jump into it. This is my educational voice. So Anna May Wong was born in 1905 in LA as Wong Lu Song. So her family was Chinese descent, but they were totally from California, and there were just a lot of Asian immigrants in California, particularly the Chinese, who started coming over to the United States in the 1850s, and had to deal with a lot of, how do we put this, racist bullshit from America, including federal laws that tried to shut down immigration from China, that forbade Chinese people from owning real estate, from becoming naturalized citizens, from working on public projects. And in, I think it was 13 states, criminalized marriage between Chinese people and quote-unquote white people. So that is a context for where Anna May grew up in the early 1900s. She attended a predominantly white California public school for a while, but eventually she was bullied so much by those little baby child racists that she had to be transferred to a school that was in LA's Chinatown. And it went better for her there. But honestly, I'm kind of guessing she didn't like school that much, because she reportedly skipped it and would go down and like watch movies, because they frequently filmed movies in the streets of Chinatown. So she would skip out of her class and find the movie productions and get up as close as she could, so she could like look at the actors and the directors and the cameras and the makeup and the costumes. And it was all, you know, like cool and glamorous. Like, would I do the same thing? I'd be too afraid if I were still a student. But yeah, I think it would be really fun for a kid, right? So she would go watch if she could, and then she'd run home and she would act out what she had seen on the sets. When she was 14, she had a bit of luck, because she was able to get on a film as an extra. and reportedly, like, she absolutely loved it. She also spent all of her money she made working for her parents' business, like going to the movies. So after she was actually able to be on one, in true teenage fashion, she declared school was for losers, and like it was the stage or nothing. So she dropped out of school by 1921 in order to be an actress, but luckily for her, kids don't drop out of high school because this is not a guarantee. But luckily for Anna, she found success fairly quickly and started to get small roles in a lot of movies. And she was only 17 when she got her breakout role in a movie that was called The Toll of the Sea. And her success there led to more and more parts. So she was getting roles, but there was a problem. So spoiler alert, the problem was racism. So Hollywood did not have a lot of parts for Asian women. There were basically, you could play what was called like the butterfly role, which was young, romantic, naive, submissive, or you could play the dragoness role, which was evil, vampy. And sometimes, even if they did have these parts for Asian women, they cast white actresses in yellowface instead of hiring actually Asian people, which is totally cringy. And then apparently it was also, not only was it illegal for like a white person to marry a Chinese person, it was also illegal to show a white character in a romantic relationship with an Asian character on screen. And this was like 1921. This was literally 100 years ago, which is not that long in the scheme of history, and it was illegal to have a mixed race relationship on screen. That's insane. So anyways, so besides those problems and the racist stereotype problems, Anna she was getting the roles, but she was acting up a storm, but she wasn't like happy with the type of work that she was getting. She was, however, super popular as an actress because, like, representation, people, it matters. And she was, like, breaking the glass ceiling, and it's totally awesome for her. And she had all these ideas. And in 1924, she started her own business called Anna May Wong Productions. And she had the goal of raising enough money to be able to make films that were actually inspired by Chinese legends and weren't just, like, the racist things that, like, white people were writing. However, it did not work out because her business partner screwed her over and the company had to be dissolved. So in 1929, she decided to get the F out of the United States for a while and went to Europe to film, hoping that the European audiences would be like less racist, frankly, and that the roles that she would get would not be like blatant stereotypes. And she got a lot of work there. And she became super successful in Germany and France and England, and she got to meet a lot of other cool like expat celebrities like Josephine Baker. So she was successful there. I don't know how much less racist they were than the US, maybe a little bit. I'm sure they were still racist because it was the early 1900s. I mean, things are still racist. So think about that. Anyways, she did eventually return to Hollywood. She auditioned for a role in a movie about Chinese farmers called The Good Earth. It was taken from a book. It was going to be like a really big deal. And she was super excited about the role, and they gave it to a white girl. So she was understandably really pissed off by this and feeling jaded and decided to go to China for the first time in her life. But that did not go how she wanted it to go, because in China, people were upset that she was portraying so many Chinese stereotypes through her work. But she learned from that. I mean, she didn't want to be playing the stereotypes in the first place, but she resolved to become an advocate for the people of China. She filmed some stuff in China to be able to show a Western audience how it was through her eyes. She stopped taking on large Hollywood roles after that, and instead chose to act in smaller movies, B movies that didn't use as many racist stereotypes, and instead depicted successful professional Chinese Americans. And she also auctioned some of her stuff. She raised some money for Chinese refugees during World War II. At the end of World War II, her career was kind of fading a little bit. She was aging, the film industry was changing. She was taking on, less lucrative roles. But she did, however, become the first Asian American to star in a TV show, and that was in 1951. She starred as an art gallerist who was like doing some detective work on the side, and so that TV show was called The Gallery of Madame Lu Song, so it was like named after her real name, which is kind of interesting. But you can't watch it. The episodes have been totally lost, which is too bad because like that could be on Netflix, right? Like an art gallerist solving murders. I don't know. Sounds fun. But yeah, so she received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1960. She did not live much longer though. In 1961, she died in her sleep of a heart attack. She was only 56 years old, so it wasn't very old at all. People did say she was a bit of a flapper in the 20s. She did smoke and drink, and her health was not the best. She had been invited to be in a musical, but she wasn't able to do it because of her poor health. So, yeah, she wasn't super old, and I hate it like when I do history talks that are like about one particular person's life instead of just like a general let's have fun in history romp, because then you have to get to the part where they died. so that's sad, but on a more upbeat note, she really has had a lasting legacy through her career. So she helped represent Chinese Americans and to humanize them to racist American audiences through her work, and so that's like pretty cool. So Anna May Wong, that is the Hollywood starlet that I chose to do this video on. She's definitely cooler than Judith Ward. Like, what has Judith done to deserve her fame? I don't know. So with that thought, I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about Anna May Wong and taking this trip down old Hollywood history lane. If you like this build, it is available on the Sims 4 gallery. It's called the Ward Den, which is the original name. I did not rename it. It is made by me, beccatownsims. You can follow me on the gallery. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and here if you feel so moved. All of my names are beccatownsims. And yeah, follow me if you want to see more Sims builds while we talk about history. Subscribe to my channel, keep me motivated, and I hope to see you again soon.